I love my girl. This is the love of my life. I'll never find no.
Okay, but will you marry her?
Well, I'll never find any. We have a connection that's more powerful than
But
marriage.
will you marry her?
You know what I mean? Like, y'all been brainwashed to think that marriage is something that.
Okay.
It's more about commitment.
Okay,
to
will
me.
you commit to her? Have you found your wife?
She's a wife. She's a wife for sure. She's a wife. I don't know if she's my wife. I don't know if she's somebody's wife. She's my baby mama.
Okay, you said you want more kids. Are you looking for other women to have more babies with, more kids with?
I'm not looking. They're going to come. God going to deliver them. So I don't ever look. I'm not looking for nothing. I got what I need. But if they just come and they naked, I'm going to be there naked too. But I love my woman, though. She holds me down. I hold her down.
Well, are you being faithful today? Today, are you faithful?
Today? What is today? What do you mean by today? What exactly is today? I mean, you mean on the calendar year? Okay. You mean, am I faithful right now? If you open my phone, like, I don't know. I don't know what you mean by that, to be honest with you. But me and my girl, me and my woman, we have a connection. We have a beautiful symbolic relationship. It ain't going nowhere.
Okay,
but
well, damn.
I'm thankful for her.
Welcome back to the channel. You see the information on the screen, so you know what I'm about. So let's get into it. So I think this is the problem, right? This right here is the problem. And this is why so many women scream, don't do wifey duties, for men that have not wifed you up. I've done so many different videos when it comes to that one particular subject. And I believe that this reality is what they're talking about. Because, see, a lot of women who walk in wife energy, they date men that walk in boyfriend energy. And see, that's really just what it is. See, I can look at that, and I even think that the person who made it, because she's a comedian, but, they're making the joke of it. They're making light of it, because what happens is, even though that's somebody's reality, okay, those women that were in that situation, okay, and many of you might be in that situation as well, ladies, is that, again, you were a wife to a boyfriend. It had nothing to do with you literally being nice or kind or loving or holding him down, but the man had no desire to get married. He has no desire to do anything. He has desire just to play around. He's basically saying, oh, yeah, she a wife, but I don't know if she my wife. Well, if she ain't your wife, then why are you spending time with her? But see, men have a thing that has been going on forever. A lot of people have talked about it, and it's called a placeholder. Okay? There's plenty of men that placehold women, and there's women that do the same. Okay? And a placeholder is just what it's called. You were never desired. You were never wanted. You were just good enough. And see, a lot of women, I think that's the thing. They just don't get that they are a placeholder to this man. They're just good enough, and they will waste literally, and I've talked to so many women about it, they will waste years of their life, okay, trying to figure out whether or not this man is going to marry them. They're so focused on him. They're so much in love with him. They're so much worried about him. And then the problem is, like, everybody they want to say, oh, well, he leaves DNA in her. Even if, they just had sex and they didn't have babies, it's still DNA, and she's jacked up because of the DNA. And everybody gets all super weird about all this stuff. The bottom line is, it's like, that's just who she likes. Okay, that is the type of person that she likes. And that's, like I say, it's generally going to be the first guy that she's intimate with or that she spent a long time with. When you study, almost any single, woman out here, and it lines up to one of the things I'm always saying, is that most of the women, about 50% of women, when they marry their husband, they're going to make the statement, he was not my type. And the reason why he's not their type is because you have to remember that Pooky and Raymond, okay, the high value version of Pooky, Pooky and Raymond, since they were young, they have been making moves. I was talking to one of my boys about it the other day because we've seen it. I saw it with my own eyes. I remember it. I could tell you like the 3 and 4, 5, 6 guys at my school, there was the Pooky. And they was running through, quote unquote, the girls. Now, back then, I don't think they was all having sex with them, but they was putting hickeys on their neck. They was touching and feeling on them. all up in the corridors and different things like that. And we all knew it was happening, in junior, back then it was junior high, but now it's middle school, so we knew it was happening. Heck, some of the teachers knew it was happening. Okay. But by the time, you had one guy and he's dated 15 girls in the school, and that's generally what happens, is one guy that will go and pollute 15 girls. Now, all those 15 girls, they're looking for another guy like the first guy. They're so wrapped up in him that the next guy, they're looking for it to be that way. And then they'll even start to make the statements when they come out into the real world, because they want that guy, that Pooky guy, to do them right. But see, that Pooky guy was never getting his education. He was never getting anything about his life together. All he was doing was he probably learned from an uncle or from a cousin or his older brother or how to talk to women. So he just practiced that. And because he was good at it, because the women was falling for the okie doke, he was having fun. And so he just kept doing it. Right? It was like a drug. He's just in a reverse drug. He's just having fun. Okay, but now, like I said, that one guy has polluted all these women, and then now women grow up with that, and so they continue to make bad decisions. And then the really great guys, they pass them by trying to get to the crappy dude, and then we all sitting on social media, we're talking about it. But see, at the end of it, this is why I say that there's this huge problem. Because when you start to talk about being a wife, okay, a wife has to show up as a wife. She has to. Because the good guy, the guy that you might have bypassed, the guy that you might have not thought he was all that he was boring, that he's this and he's that, he hasn't had a static life. He's had a life of ups and downs, and he's learned things, and he's moved through things. And yes, there were some women, more than likely, that took a chance on him. Maybe it wasn't the woman he wanted. Okay, maybe those women were placeholders for him. But no matter what the situation was, he's gone through something. And a good portion of those men, because we're not talking, like I always talk about, there's three different types, primarily of men. And I do say there is a type that are losers, 100% losers. They'll never understand women. Okay, and it's not because they have to be there. It's just because they want to be there, because they continue to believe the okie doke, right? It's like when, you start talking about incels and stuff like that. There are certain incels that they just went to the gym, okay, and got some new clothes, they could get women. But they will sit out there and complain for the next 20 years instead of changing their life, which is I'm always telling everybody that, you have to do in order to get to where they're trying to go. But anyway, to get back to the wifey. So when you're dealing with that wifey energy, you can't say as a woman that, I'm dating this new guy, but I'm not going to show him any wifey duties. I'm not going to do it at all. Because then he's thinking, oh, okay, well, this one right here got problems. Because remember, he's dated too. So he's looking at you like, okay, well, all these other women did all this other stuff for me. And then, yeah, she might be prettier than them, but she's not willing to do anything. And because she's not willing to do anything, I'm like, no, I ain't feeling this. Let me get up out of here and move on to the next woman. Right? But just because I'm encouraging you to do wifey duties and to the men to do husbandly duties, it does not mean that you have to be a quote unquote high level toxic pick-me or a high level toxic simp. Like I said, I do believe you need to be a giver. Okay, but you don't need to be bending over backwards for anyone. Okay, even when you get married, you shouldn't be bending over backwards, literally trying to, help them or to do for them or whatever it is. Okay, at the end of the day, okay, if you do not show a giving heart to a person that's healed and whole, they're not going to pick you. And a lot of women think that they can just be cute and get married, and it doesn't work that way. Because remember, these other guys that have been learning, they've been growing on the side, depending upon when you get them. Okay, they have the capacity to be a Pooky, to walk in that Pooky energy. They do have that capacity. And so if they see you as a potential wife, they're going to treat you one way. But if they treat you as a potential, a placeholder, I can hang out with this woman for a while, they're going to treat you that way. And see, where I think a lot of women don't truly understand is that there is a point with certain men, especially men that have a little bit of money. And when I'm saying a little bit, I'm not talking about no $100,000. I'm just talking about somebody that maybe has 75, 80. Okay, but there is a point where they might treat you really, really good. And you might think, oh, this guy's a simp, or he backwards and forth in love with me and all this other kind of stuff. And he's just being him. And this is what he does for all his placeholders. And you're sitting around thinking, oh, I got him, because he does this and he does that. And you're wasting your time with him just like you was wasting your time with the other ones. And it might be because you could have been doing wifey duties, but you refuse to do wifey duties because now you'd have made up in your mind, I ain't doing wifey duties until somebody wife me up. The only wifey duty I'm going to encourage you not to do, like I said, is have sex, which most Christian channels, that's what they encourage you to do. And it's not so much, like I said, I've said before that I do believe that people can have sex and get married, right? But the issue of it is when you're pushing that all the time, especially as a woman, is doing so much to your mental and your emotional being. Not all women are going to go through this. Like I say, instinct-driven women, they have a way to compartmentalize just like men. But when you are a little bit more emotional, that is a huge tear at your heart every single time you go through that process. And men on the other side, they do not appreciate women that are out there like that. They just don't. And women might say, well, I don't have to tell him, blah, 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 blah. Men can kind of figure it out. They not, again, if the man has been around the block a couple of times, okay, he gonna know. Okay, because every woman has a different energy. Women who basically have only been with a few partners, they act as such. And women that have been with a lot of partners, they act totally different. And you might say, well, I know how to just play the game. Again, playing games is just not the best way to go through life, especially if you're trying to look for something genuine in a genuine relationship. All right. And honestly, like I said, you can do a lot of damage to yourself, putting yourself out there, on that whole sexual tip, because, and even for men, I don't encourage men to be sleeping around with everybody. So the point here is you have to be a wife, but you have to be a wife to a man who is a husband. It has to have that husband energy on the other side. What is husband energy? It is the energy to do for you. It is the energy to be partners with you. It is the energy to protect you. It is the energy to look after you. It is the energy to walk this life with you. Okay, and a guy who takes no interest in you, okay, beyond you hanging out, okay, he's not a husband. I don't care how attractive he is. I don't care how well he speaks. I don't care how much money he has. I don't care what you think you might be able to get and how you're going to get over and how you listen to this influencer or this influencer that told you what to look for. At the end of the day, okay, if he doesn't take genuine interest in you, okay, he don't want you. And it's the same thing for men. If a woman does not take genuine interest in you, if she can take you or leave you, she don't want you. And you can't get mad about it. You just got to move on. And honestly, I think most of us have been there at least once in our life. So we can pull from that energy and recognize that same energy on somebody else. So anyway, remember, we got a lot of stuff happening in 2025. Make sure you check that description. We got those Zoom calls coming. We got a lot of the stuff going on with speed dating. And like I said, you can join Christian Singles Connect or Christian Millennials Connect for those under 40 if you want to be more in a direct contact with me. All right. So please like, please subscribe, and I'm going to see you all in the very next video.